Hi, welcome to the Gen AI Mastery course. The goal of this course is to take you from a beginner Gen AI user to an expert user in 7 sessions. My name is Lucky from Gen Educate. Let's dive in. So we have the second practice in the first session now, which is precision and control. And our key term, or the key skill that you would develop in this second practice is structural architecture. What is structural architecture though? It's in this context, it's just using syntax or delimiters to instruct generative AI tools to avoid using unwanted information from the test. In other words, you have a lot of tests given to generative AI, but you want generative AI to focus on a part of that test, to use a part of that test, because if it uses other parts of the test, it might be incorrect. For example, if you have a lease agreement or a regulatory document where there's a lot of information, it might be 50 pages, but you want generative AI to focus on maybe 2 or 3 pages of that document, you can use the limiters or syntax to make generative AI focus on that part that you want it to work on. Now, the scenario, again, it's a typical workplace scenario where a transcript is being created from a meeting, but that transcript, it depends on how big the transcript is. You might not want to use the whole transcript. You might want to focus on a part of that transcript, and then you can use the limiters. But again, we're going to practice, as usual, the pitfall or how not to do it. If you look here, find the technical specs in this test. What you would get, again, would be irrelevant information. Some of the information, because you are giving the test to generative AI, you will have some of the information, but mostly you would have irrelevant information that you don't need, and you have to edit and spend a lot of time removing that information or changing it. But how do you do it properly, though? Again, as usual, we have the expert progression. The first step is necessary when there is a lot of information and you want to focus on some of it, like I've said before. But if you don't have that, if you don't have a lot of information, and you don't have a part of the test that you're giving generative AI or the document you're giving generative AI, you want to use everything, you might not need the first step. But the second step is very important. It's being clear or specific about what you don't want. So you make it clear about what you don't want. Like I said before, we are very brief on the course, but you have the core. For example, we said here, exclude all administrative chatter, office humor, or non-technical mentions. So these are the things that we don't want in our content that it would create. There, you can put 5 items, 10 items, depends on what you're doing. So that's the first core step here. You start with what you don't want. Then you move on to what you want. You've already told generative AI about what you don't want. You move on to what you want. Here, we have extract, component name, value, and unit. Your context can be very different. You can have a different document in a different area, but the process is still the same. What you don't want and what you want. Once you do that, then the fourth step is one way to avoid hallucination. You instruct generative AI to use only confirmed information from the document or from the test you're giving it or from the transcript. And you ask generative AI to use a term or a word. In this case, we're using pending verification. Use pending verification if it's not confirmed, if there's no final agreement. So you can use this in any different context. Insofar as it's not confirmed in that document, or if generative AI can't confirm it, use this word. That way you're preventing generative AI from hallucinating. But having said this, let's go into the practice and see how this is in reality. So, for the second practice, you can see we have the prompt that says find the technical specs in the test here, which doesn't really say much, but this one, it does something. It's an improvement from the first practice. Here, transcript is given. That means generative AI might be able to use the transcript to an extent. We'll see how that goes, but it's still not the best because it hasn't given specifics. It just says technical specs. So generative AI, we have to fill in the gap and make up stuff, as you will see now. Whereas here on the right-hand side, you have the prompt already created. As usual, I have both prompts down here. So let's start with how not to do it first, which is this one here that I'm copying now. And I will run it and we'll see what comes out and talk about it. While that one is running, I'll copy the first, the how to do it, the expert progression, which I've already created with a prompt. If you see down here, I've done all that 4 steps down here. Okay, let's run it and see. So the first one, it gives you technical specifications. Again, it would say this is what you ask for, technical specifications, confidently, and so on. And from the tests, it is made up all of this. What is happening here? Because you've given it information to use, it's just giving you the specs. But the thing is, you can't use this because what are you going to do with the specs? This is already in that information. Some of them are not there, they just made them up. If you look here, these are the things that are in the spec. It's basically summarized it for you. But the point is, it's created what you don't want. So that means you have to type and write a lot or continue to prompt it to create what you want. Whereas on here, it's giving you exactly what you want, which is why you're doing this course, how to get exactly what you want. If you go back to the prompt, you will see you ask for the component name, you ask for the value, and you ask for the unit. So these are the things that you need to use. And then it gave you extra note and you get exactly what you want. On this occasion, this is what it is. You don't have to do anything. So if it was a 50-page document and you need these 3 areas, that's what it would do. And you will just copy and you start with work. You use it for whatever you need it for. No editing on this occasion because of the prompt. Whereas on here, it's not clear. This is basically not useful. That's what it is. Whereas on this one, you have everything that you need the way you want it specifically. So being specific matters a lot. Now, but thank you very much for staying to the end of this session, and I'll see you in the next session. Have a good day. Thank you.